The silence of my Sunday morning was broken by a knock at 7:30 a.m. My daughter-in-law, Elena, stood on the porch with a large pot. Our relationship had always been distant, but today she beamed, offering homemade vegetable stew. "I thought you needed some care, Dad," she said. I was touched, but I was fasting for medical tests at 9 a.m. Elena's smile flickered for a second when I explained I couldn't eat it yet. She told me to save it for later and left with an unreadable expression.
I hated to see good food go to waste. My son, Leo, was finishing a grueling double shift at the city hospital, right where my appointment was scheduled. I filled an old thermos with the stew and brought it to him. He was exhausted, sleeping in the break room. When I woke him with the warm meal, he was grateful. "Elena really outdid herself," he said, finishing the cup in a few swallows. As I left, he called out that he loved me. I had no idea I had just delivered a container of poison. Waiting for my blood work, the intercom screamed, "Code Blue, doctor's break room." My heart dropped. Doctors don't become patients in the break room. I ran down the hall, shoving past security, only to see my son on the floor, his body jerking as the crash cart paddles charged. The monitor flatlined, a single terrifying tone. They managed to bring him back, but the lead physician, Dr. Sterling, pulled me aside. "Mr. Vance, someone poisoned your son. His potassium levels are lethally high. This wasn't an accident." Detective Miller arrived as Leo was moved to ICU. I told her everything: Elena's visit, the stew, and my decision to give it to Leo. Elena arrived shortly after, looking disheveled. When told about the poisoning, she looked horrified. "I made that with love," she cried. But the detective noticed Elena's history in pharmaceutical sales. Doubt began to fester. Why did she look relieved when she realized I hadn't eaten the stew? The detective took us both in for formal statements. Back at home, my housekeeper, Maria, led me to the basement. She had found an old box belonging to my late brother, Thomas, a surgeon who died years ago. Inside were two versions of a surgical report from 15 years prior. One showed Thomas had made a fatal error. The other showed he had blamed a nurse named Sarah Miller. I searched the name and found an obituary. Sarah had a daughter, Elena. The truth was chilling. Elena hadn't married into our family for love. She had married my son for revenge. At the station, the evidence was clear. Elena had used an old employee badge to steal the chemicals. I sat across from her in the interrogation room and showed her the original surgical reports. "I know the truth now," I whispered. Elena broke down, admitting she wanted me to suffer as her mother had. She asked if I thought Leo would ever forgive her. I didn't have an answer. I had spent my life protecting a lie, and in the end, the truth nearly cost me the only thing I had left, my son. At the station, the evidence was clear. Elena had used an old employee badge to steal the chemicals. I sat across from her in the interrogation room and showed her the original surgical reports. "I know the truth now," I whispered. Elena broke down, admitting she wanted me to suffer as her mother had. She asked if I thought Leo would ever forgive her. I didn't have an answer. I had spent my life protecting a lie, and in the end, the truth nearly cost me the only thing I had left, my son.